If you think shadow work is only for witches, then we should talk. Most people are doing shadow work wrong, not because they're lazy, but because they were never told what it is exactly. Welcome to my channel, Diary of a Shadow Healer. My name is Starshade, and today we're going to talk about where shadow work comes from. If you could, please just tap on that little subscribe button for me and hit the like button and do all the buttony things. It would really help me out a lot. Shadow work didn't start in witchcraft. It didn't begin in ritual. It started in psychology. And if we misunderstand that, we misunderstand the entire practice. Today, I want to talk about where shadow work actually comes from and why spiritual communities, mostly earth-based spiritual communities, embraced it so fully and what it really means to integrate your shadow. No fluff, no bypassing, and pretending it's something it's not. Let's start at the beginning. Shadow work originates in analytical psychology. The term shadow wasn't mystical at all. It was coined by psychologist Carl Jung to describe something very human, the parts of ourselves that we repress, deny, or disown. It wasn't about the evil parts, not the demonic parts, not the mystical parts, just the disowned parts. In Jungian psychology, gosh, I hope I'm saying that right, the shadow represents traits, impulses, desires, and beliefs that don't fit with the identity we have consciously. So we push them down, we hide them, sometimes we project them onto others. Jung's version of shadow work was clinical and symbolic. It was meant for therapeutic insight. It was not originally a ritual practice, spiritual ceremony, or about removing curses. It was about integration, and that distinction matters. So, how did something clinical become a spiritual movement? In psychological terms, shadow integration means awareness plus responsibility. It means recognizing the parts of yourself you would rather not claim and taking ownership of them. It wasn't about journaling and banishing bad vibes or clearing negative energy. It was about noticing your triggers, recognizing projection, admitting the trait you hate in someone else might live in you, and acknowledging internalized beliefs you didn't consciously choose. Shadow work is uncomfortable because it requires accountability and radical self-honesty. For me, accountability was the easy part. It was the recognition that was difficult. So where do these shadows come from? Well, a good percentage of the time, they're shaped in childhood. We're told certain things repeatedly during our most formative years. Stuff like, you're too sensitive. Boys don't cry. That's sinful. That's not who we are. You'll never be good enough. Or maybe something traumatic happens, something so intense that it imprints a belief about who you are or how the world works. And when parts of us are shamed, rejected, or punished, we don't eliminate them. We bury them. They don't disappear. They just go underground and become what we know as a shadow. So if this started in psychology, how did it end up on Witch Talk? If shadow work started in psychology, why is it so strongly associated with earth-based spirituality? Or at least, that's what I wanted to find out. Now, for all intents and purposes, when I say earth-based spirituality, I'm referring to traditions like paganism, Wicca, witchcraft, and similar paths. Back in my day, it was known as metaphysical studies. So I just want you to know that it's all encompassing. So, long before the phrase shadow work became popular, these communities were already engaging in deep inner work. They worked with fear, shame, desire, anger, death, rebirth. Their myths included descent narratives. Their rituals honor seasonal cycles, decay feeding growth, darkness preceding renewal, the whole shebang. In these traditions, darkness was never excluded. It was part of the cycle. One might even say the circle of life. Sorry, dad joke, I know. Okay. You don't ascend without descending, is what I'm getting at. So when psychology gave language to the idea of integrating disowned parts of the self, spiritual communities recognized it immediately. Psychology named something spirituality had been circling around for centuries. But here's the problem. It became more layered because Jung himself blurred the line between psychology and spirituality. He studied alchemy, he studied mythology, and he studied astrology and folklore. He believed modern people had lost their symbolic language. He thought myth and ritual were psychologically necessary for wholeness. Because it is. So, while shadow work began in psychology, it was always informed by symbolic and mythic thinking. Jung didn't invent darkness, he just systemized it. Jung gave it structure and language by placing it within a psychological framework. And once something has language, we can work with it consciously. Now, this is where I'll be honest. Some modern spiritual spaces emphasize transcendence, purity, positivity, only good vibes, light and love. Ugh. However, I've never fully resonated with that. Mostly because growth doesn't come from bypassing discomfort. I am who I am today because I went through so much bad things. Sorry, I was going to say a bad word. It doesn't come from pretending we're only light. I believe it comes from integration. If a spiritual framework avoids anger, shadows, and discomfort, then it's not complete. Shadow work fits so naturally into earth-based traditions because these traditions never rejected darkness to begin with. Decay feeds growth, winter is necessary, descent is part of initiation. I think a lot of people have forgotten that recently. But that worldview makes room for the whole human experience. And you gotta have the anger with the love, the annoyance, the bright side, all of it. You gotta put it all together. I truly believe that because of this whole light and love only narrative, that people don't feel like they're able to be angry or able to be annoyed. And I think other people also look at people who are upset as shocked. Like me, I'm a happy-go-lucky person a good percentage of the day. However, I have moments like everybody else where I get annoyed, I get angry. And when people see that side of me, they're shocked, mind blown. And I don't understand it because I'm hey, I'm a whole human being. I don't have just one side of myself. I'm allowed to be upset about something. I'm allowed to vent and have an issue. But for some reason, because I am usually positive a good percentage of the time, it surprises them. I want people to be able to experience all their emotions because they're all important. So if you're angry or you're sad, be sad, cry. If you need a shoulder to cry on, then go find some shoulder to cry on. That's okay. It's okay to be emotional. So a little history about me and my connection with shadow work. I had gone to therapy and psychologist since I've been a teenager. I've dealt with a lot of trauma in my formative years and in my 20s and 30s and all the time. I went and I started a Reiki 1 class because always been wanting to do that. I just love energy healing so much, and Reiki was the top thing that I wanted to try to do. So one of the things that my Reiki master wanted me to do was shadow work, because you really need to be okay with yourself before you start doing any kind of energy with anybody at all. So I did shadow work with her to begin with, and it was wonderful. I loved it. I love the process and the questions and everything. And I wanted to also let everyone know about a book that you can get that really, I think, introduces people to shadow work, but it's like pretty all encompassing. And that's the Shadow Work Journal by Keela Sahin. I hope I am saying that correctly. So anyways, after doing that bout of like shadow work, I was like, there's still something that I need to work on, and I just don't know what. So I found out about Kedrick Olson, who does a shadow work ascension class, and he was phenomenal. Like the way that he integrates the spirituality, you know, the paganism and everything like that with shadow work, that was right up my alley. So I went to him, I did one-on-ones with him. He showed me certain meditations and everything, and it was very mind-blowing. And working with him, you know, we had talks sometimes about what I wanted to do. And I was like, I just really want to share my story, because it's a long story, but there's so much knowledge, so much that I've learned, so many things that I did wrong that I want to share with people, so that they, even if they make the mistake, they know how to get through it and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's why I started Diary of a Shadow Healer. And I just wanted to share that with you, because I don't have a doctorate in anything. My highest degree level is my master's, and it was not in any kind of doctor form. So I am more of that person that has lots and lots of experience with therapy, and I'm big on researching. But if you're looking for somebody who has a medical degree, that ain't me. But I still really want to help, and I want to share, and hopefully I can make a change in somebody's life somewhere. Shadow work became popular because it stands at the intersection of two worlds. It has psychological credibility, and it has spiritual resonance. It doesn't require a therapist's office or formal initiation. It feels accessible but deep. It offers transformation without dogma, and in a world where many people are deconstructing old belief systems but still seeking meaning, shadow work bridges that gap. So here's the simple truth. Shadow work didn't start as a spiritual practice. It started in psychology, but it became spiritual because spirituality already understood darkness. Jung didn't invent the shadow, he just gave it language. And once something has language, we can engage with it intentionally. Jasper's tale. Shadow work isn't about becoming light. It's about having the courage to look at what you buried and decide you're ready to claim it. I'll be compiling more videos with suggestions and exercises for integrating your shadows in future videos. So don't forget to tap the subscribe button, please. And please leave a comment below and let me know what resonated most for you in this video.